All right, we have Andy and Danny Valentine. How you guys doing today?
Good. Excited to be here.
Yeah,
Good, good. So tell me, how's it feel that your debut premiere of the Mattachine Family finally happened?
Babe, you want to go first?
Andy, I think you can. Well, I think it's interesting from your perspective as a director, but I'll chime in afterwards. Andy, you talk about it first.
I mean, we're just like we were so excited to like be able to watch the film and with an audience. I think that was like the most like exciting and like nerve-wracking thing about like launching your first feature is just like how audiences will respond.
Mhm.
And they liked it. So we were very happy, I think, with the reception that people are having with our film.
Good, good.
And and I'll say too, just add, it was really kind of because this like story has been with us for many years now, like starting from like writing on my bed like two apartments ago to finally like sitting in an audience with people like laughing at jokes and coming up to us afterwards and telling us like how much it like impacted them to watch it and like how much it meant to them to watch this and have this film. So like thinking about that journey from start to finish was really like overwhelming, but in a good way.
Good, good. Now, the Mattachine family is an intensely personal story that was born out of real conversations between you two about fatherhood and what that looks like for two gay men. Why did you want to turn this into a film?
I think it was like Danny and I got married, and then it was like to have kids? Is it not to have kids? And at that time, I was definitely more like career focused. I was like, I've got to meet these like goals in my life, and those all involved like kids will come later. And I think Danny, definitely saw the other side where it was like, well, if we want to have children, there's a lot of different paths for LGBTQ people to have kids. And so we've got to like, start talking about that and figuring that out. So that's kind of like that that conversation started then. And then we were like, well, what other, where can we go and find film and TV that like have these questions, these big questions? And there wasn't much, right? Like there's like Modern Family, which has more of a comedy, but they're not getting into those like dramatic moments of like real life, like conversations between a husband and a husband on what's next. So, Dan, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think having the conversations with Andy, and I always say that we turn to art to help us understand big questions about our own lives. And there wasn't anything that really reflected our experience. I think the Mattachine family, it's really personal, and I think it is specific to the LGBTQ community in terms of like becoming parents or but it's also really universal. And so I thought that that was a reason, again, to make this into a film, is because it would speak to people like us who were looking for something that reflected our experiences. But I think it also resonates with other, like anybody who, like our executive producer, Zach Braff, said that he like connected to the film because he was having those conversations with somebody that he was with. And
Yeah,
he was at a different point in his life and wanted to have children, and she was not. And so I think that was kind of like a driving force to have us make this film because we thought it could, reach lots of different types of people and help them.
definitely. So it has become meaningful in so many ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I mean, it was, I think that was like what surprised us. I think is that it was, so universal to a lot of people, and it resonated with a broad set of audiences. I think that is always, one of the challenges of like creating anything like super queer, queer in film is like how does it resonate? There are those projects that like transcend just like queer media, and hopefully we're can do that. So
Hmm.
um,
Definitely, definitely. So have you two collaborated on projects together before?
we did so Danny co-wrote The Letterman, which was the short that we made last year, that premiered at Tribeca. And then we've written some crappy short films, and it's always been like it's like a unique process, right? To become creative partners like with your real life partner. But it's like been fun. I mean, I don't know, Danny knows me better than anybody else, and I know him better than anybody else. So we were able to create, something truly magical, I think,
Yeah.
that reflected us on screen and as well our community as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So how would you say the Mattachine family has strengthened your bond as a married couple?
Ooh, good question. Danny?
Um, well, working with someone in a like creative or like professional capacity just requires all the things that you really need to have like a good relationship, like open communication. You have to be willing to take criticism. That's something that I've learned a lot about being I had to learn a lot about taking criticism and not taking it personally. But I think that like aspect of collaboration, I mean, it just carries over from working together professionally or creatively to, forming like a partnership in terms of like raising a child, all those things. They've I think actually making the film before having our child really prepared us for making decisions and collaborating and
Yeah.
problem solving. So all those things have really helped.
Awesome. So ultimately, what do you hope audiences take away from the Mattachine family?
I think that we want audiences to watch this and see that, LGBTQ people are just like everybody else, and that we all have the same struggles in life, and that, these conversations of whether or not to become parents, are happening with queer couples and straight couples. It doesn't matter, and I think we really want we really want to be able to like take audiences on that emotional journey with our lead character Thomas, played by Nico Tortorella. He really takes audiences on a whirlwind adventure of what's going to happen with his life in
Mhm.
terms of his relationship and in terms of does he want to be a dad.
Yeah, yeah. Danny?
Yeah, I mean the message of the film, if there is a message, I mean, not to distill it down, but it's the idea of like there are lots of different types of families, that in terms of like gay families who like parents, people who decide to become parents, people who decide to forge like chosen families, is that we all kind of are trying to find this like connection, this community, whether it's within like certain family structures or friend structures, and that we wanted to connect with people, especially right now with when I wrote the film, some part of me sometimes thought, this, do we need to tell a story like this right now? Like
Mm.
and it sometimes feel so accepted and we feel so welcomed in our community, but I know that not everywhere in the country is like that, especially right now. So I think having a film like this and showing that, we have the face the same like issues as everyone else when we're trying to decide like relationship wise, like we're not different and we all kind of are going through the same struggles.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And what made Nico and Juan Pablo Di Pace perfect for the roles of Thomas and Oscar?
We did a few readings with different actors, and when Nico and Juan, started, it was on a Zoom call because this was like height of pandemic.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it's always like a challenge, right? Like, how do you build chemistry over a Zoom call?
Mhm.
And it was like watching they like embodied the characters. And I
Nice.
think that both of them were very passionate about their characters and like saw a lot of themselves in Thomas and Oscar, and so that got Danny and I excited even more than like they're great actors. They've been in some incredible movies and TV shows. But the fact that they were so like passionately, how passionately they spoke about the film and the purpose of the film, excited us a lot. So, and we felt like they were able to sell those characters, on screen. So
Awesome. Very nice. Now, the film premiered at the Seattle International Film Festival just the other week, and you said it was received very well by audiences.
it was, yeah, it was received great. We had packed houses. It seemed like it resonated well with audiences. And I'm excited to see where it goes.
Good, good. And where will it play next?
It will be playing at Frameline in San Francisco on June 15th
Huh?
at 6 p.m. at the historic Castro Theater. So I know that if you want to come out, I will be there. Nico will be there. Danny will be there for Q&A afterwards. And then also you have the opportunity to stream via Frameline as well for like a week after the showing. So if you go to their website, you can find out more.
Okay, awesome. So is the website the best way to stay up to date with the film?
Actually, follow our Instagram, Mattachine Family, and that is the best place where you'll be able to like find out all the information on where it's screening, where the next place it's screening. Hopefully, we can continue, our back-to-back our film festivals for the next few months, and you can follow us there.
Okay, awesome. And how can one stay up to date with both of you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Andy Vallentine with 2 L's.
Okay.
And then I'm also on Instagram. I'm dkishvalentine with 2 L's.
Okay, perfect. Then before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
Nothing yet. We've always got projects in the works, but I think it is Mattachine Family for the next few months until the next one.
Awesome, fantastic.